Hi, I'm Joshua Weeblehouse, and today we're going to be making the Gulthias Tree for Dungeons & Dragons tabletop RPGs. Alright, for this project you're going to need some scissors, a paint tray, hot glue sticks, hot glue gun, a paper towel roll, a shish kebab skewer, probably more than one, and these rolls of twists of paper I showed in my video on how to make dead trees. You can make them out of cardstock or thick stationery. I'll show some cardstock here. And toothpicks. You're going to want a dark brown paint. I got this burnt sienna. You're going to need some black spray paint. I don't have that to show, but you know what that looks like. Some small bottles of some red and black for touch-ups, paintbrush and water, some newspaper to work on, and a large metal washer or plate. You want something kind of heavy because this is going to be a large miniature. You don't want it falling over during battle. So the wider it is, and generally the heavier it is, the better it's going to be for this project. Alright, I'll start showing the first steps. Okay, here's what happened. I filmed 25 minutes of making this, but the computer says that doesn't work for no reason other than it's missing, or for some other reason it's not compatible. And I don't want to make this again, so I'm just going to describe how I make it, and hopefully that's enough. If not, well, I'm not going to say I'll never show it. If I get 20 subscribers this week, I will show you the entire process. I'll go through it all again. But otherwise, no. I'm just going to describe how I did it. Okay, this inside here is a paper towel roll. What I did was I flattened it out, I took my scissors, I cut it in two, and I got something like this. Then I took my hot glue gun, I ran glue along, I held it in place, I had a wide metal base, much wider than this, and I glued it in place, and I put this down. I held it in place, and it dried there. Then, I took the paper that I twisted into place. As shown, I folded it once, I twisted it. I showed this in my other video on how to make dead trees, so if you really want to watch that, learn how to do that, then go watch that video. Then I bent the edge of the branch, and I turned it up like that. I put some hot glue along. I put it up the half roll of toilet paper, and I dried it in place. I stuck some up. I went all around the tree doing so. Then I made the arms. Alright. I'll show how to make an arm. I took a shish kebab. I cut off a section. Then I cut off another section. Then, using the paper, I made a bend like this. This bend would connect into a gap in there. I would glue it in place after I made the arm. That sighing is my brother, who is also frustrated, but for other reasons that I'm unaware. And I take the shish kebab piece and I put it there. Then I had this piece, which I would then bend the paper in the position I wanted the branch-like arm to go, as shown by this. And I would take my hot glue gun again. I did this. I took the piece, I put it in place, I let it dry, and this would be the fingers. And so on and so forth. I will show a little bit more, just so I can say I showed you something in this video, other than here is nothing. Sorry, just really frustrated. It takes like 20 minutes for Windows Media Player to do it. I mean, not Windows Media Player, Windows Movie Maker. I know I need to get a new one, but I need to get a new laptop too. So, hey, you guys subscribe, I'll get a Patreon, then we can get a new laptop. You guys can get better videos, and I won't get frustrated with the stupid laptop. Anyway. As you can see, I just glue this all in place. So that it can these are like the 3 fingers, and then I put one little piece like this right here for a thumb. And as you can see, that is vaguely hand-like. That's the branch-like arm. I would put little more pieces like this to cover any gaps here, any shish kebab showing through, and that would be the arm. And then I would describe it as swinging towards the adventurer and grabbing them. And then I would just glue that into gaps in there, and I would secure it on like that. Then, after all that, I would take, covered in wisps of glue, I would take some toothpicks, or the shish kebab points I cut off, and I would stick them in there, and I would glue them in place. As you can see, that's how it goes. I also would stick some pieces like this and have them pointing out. Then I painted it all black. I spray painted it black. And then I painted it brown. Little bits brown. Burnt sienna to be exact. And then I painted bits of it red to give it a dark, sinister look. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. If there are any questions, leave it in the comments below, and I will answer it there. Or if 20 subscribers this week, I'll make the video, I promise. So, those are your options. Either ask questions in the comments, or 20 subscribers. Either one, that's how it's going to happen. So frustrated. So, the main videos that we're missing, that I think, I just went over everything to show everyone how it's done. But the main thing was like how to make the body, how to make the arms, which are like the entire thing. I have the video on the spikes and painting it, and then the brief thing at the end. So hopefully everything else works, but if not, that's how you do it. So I'm gonna work on editing it. I'm gonna show how to make wheels next week. I think I got that video pretty much sorted out, and then after that I'm not sure. Wait, no, it's not wheels next week. That's the week after that. Giant mushrooms are next week, and wheels after that, and I don't know what's after that. So that's what's going on in the future. And yeah, just go around. Also, you can just take this, gives it a spike. Don't want to waste that stuff. Waste not, want not. And you don't need to add too many spikes. You want to be able to pick this up without stabbing yourself. But you still want a good number. Around the base is where you want it the most, I feel. Just so it gives it a more sinister look to it than just a tree with arms, which is already kind of sinister, but it could be anything. It could be like a good tree ant, like in Lord of the Rings. It could just be like, hey, I'm protecting my forest, but if you give it spikes, it gives it a little more predatory look, like, yeah, I kill things just so I can kill things. So just keep adding those. And that's pretty good. Now just add some spikes to the side. Also, I'm not liking the look of how smooth this tree is, so I'm going to take this paper, gonna twist it some more, just twisting it around itself a little bit. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to take this spot right here, I'm going to make like a little branch sticking out, just because it'll break up the surface a little bit. That just smooth bark going up, give it a more realistic surface of a tree. And I think I like this. I think I'm happy with how this looks. So I'm just gonna fill in a few more spots like this, and then I'm gonna take it outside, spray paint it. I'm not gonna show that. I mean, you know how to spray paint stuff. You're all, I mean, and if you don't know how to spray paint stuff, there's plenty of videos. I don't need to show you how to do that. It'd be a waste of your time. And done. I am happy with this. I'm going to go spray paint it, and then I'm going to show painting it. Alright, here is the Gulthias tree once it's been spray painted. It's still a little wet, especially on the base. But as you can see, the black spray paint has given it a lot more sinister look. Like, there's still some cracks that are, you can see the paper through, but we're going to use a paintbrush to get those. And I'm going to show painting it. I don't just leave it all black just because that's not the color of wood, and I want to show a little bit more detail. And if it's all black, then that's a little bit harder to do. It just all blends together. But I'm going to grab a thicker paintbrush. Then it's not too thick. This is about the size of it. And I'm just going to cover up any pieces of paper that are showing with brown. And yeah, just give it like a little bit of brown. So this is like dead wood. It's a rotten tree. It's an undead tree, specifically. It's an undead plant monster, which I really think is just a cool little idea, which is why I like the Gulthias tree so much. It's like, it's not just a plant monster like, I don't know, a Venus's flytrap, a giant Venus's flytrap that just eats you. It's undead. It drinks your blood. it's kind of a creepy plant. It can regain health from killing you, from drinking your blood and absorbing it like a vampire. But it's a plant, so it's thinks about the world differently than you and me. Like, you're just food. It's not like just a vampire. Like even a vampire would think of you as food, I guess. But a vampire was once human. This thing has never been human. It's always just been a tree that needs to eat, drink, I guess not eat, drink blood in order to live and grow stronger, and it corrupts the forest around it. It destroys the land. It destroys nature. It just turns plants into blights, basically dead moving constructs. Though they're alive. They're undead plants. They're very interesting. Like, a lot of people say, oh, plant monsters, they're not that interesting, but like they're interesting in the sense that everything could be a monster. But I think they're very interesting. It's like the world itself, like rocks, plants, everything can be a threat, and also they're alive, like in ways that they can feel, like they can understand you. They have desires. It's just, I find that intriguing. It's one of the reasons I like playing the game. I like to just explore the world and find out how everything works and runs and what's out there. So as you can see, keeping it mostly black, just running a bit of brown over here and there, just to cover up spots and to give it more detail. Like, it brings out the black by adding brown. You can just see the black more clearly in the cracks. And I'm going to use a different shade of brown, I think, for the ground. I want to make the ground different, so I'm going to grab this acrylic paint. I'm just going to use a little bit because that's a little more than I wanted, but I'm just going to use that on the ground just to differentiate between the tree and the base. And there you go. That is the brown that we've added. And I'm not going to add any more brown. Now that I've got all that, I'm going to look at those spikes and its fingers, and I'm going to take this rusty red, kind of like a dried blood color almost, and I'm just going to get some of that there, and I'm just going to take that and I'm going to put some on its spikes right there, just so to bring those out and so people can see them easier. Also, I might add a little streaks here and there, just like it's been splattered with blood, especially on its fingers, like it's clawed into people. Granted, dried blood would be a lot darker than this, but this is a miniature. We want it to make it look interesting, bring out the details, so we're going to use a brighter color of red than it would be natural. That's not done. I'm just gonna use some brown and cover that white up. So this is why I paint it, because you miss details, but once you go over it, you typically get most of them. And that is the Gulthias tree. That is how you make it. And that's all I have to show for this. Okay, I finished the Gulthias tree, but as I mentioned before, I almost forgot, I also add roots to this. So I'm going to show how to make the roots quick. They're not that hard. They come in all different shapes. Like this one's coiled around, this one's kind of arched up like it's about to slam down someone. This one's just kind of slithering on the ground, like this one. This one's like a hand coming out of the ground to grab someone. So you can do pretty much anything with them once you get the technique. The technique is very simple. You're just going to need a metal base. So I guess you don't need a metal base, but you need a base. You're going to need some 2x6, your scissors, hot glue, pretty much all the things you did before except for the paper towel tube. And then you're just going to start. I'm going to show one arching up. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to take a roll of paper. And I'm going to go like that. And you just keep going along that. Keep using that big piece of paper as kind of your framework. And add that. And let's see. Yeah, you're gonna need just use about one more piece, and then you're gonna just fill it up with hot glue. That's pretty much all this is. It's paper, hot glue, and a little bit of toothpicks. Okay, as you can see, it's a little longer than I wanted, but that's quickly fixed with a there. And as I said, it's going to use a lot more hot glue for this. You're just going to cover that not with paper, but with this. It's going to be a little thicker. Careful not to burn yourself. And yeah, you just let that dry. That's one. I think I'm just going to show one more, and then I'm not going to show how to paint them. You just do the same thing you did for the Gulthias tree, and that's pretty much it. So no need to show that. Okay, you just take the paper. You're gonna lay out the hot glue. Gonna do it a little. You're gonna want to get this into a point. You lay that out there, and got that. Then you just take some of those toothpick spikes, And you'll pretty much do the same to this one. Change my mind, that gap's a little too big. Gonna want to fill that up with some paper. But yeah, that's how you make a root. So I think you guys got the point. You just paint this, and you can just use that on the battlefield to attack your players.
The party of heroes advances through the forest, past the swamps of blackened tar. They come upon a clearing, devoid of any grass, filled with dead trees. When suddenly, as they approach one of the trees, it reveals itself as a giant monstrosity of blackened bark covered in blood. It grapples one of the warriors, throwing him into a tar pit. "No!" screams the paladin as she rushes forward, and combat begins. Well, everyone, this has been my video for how to make the Gulthias tree. Check out my next video, running the Gulthias tree. I'll show you my stats on the Gulthias tree, how I use it in combat, and how it can be more effective depending on how you use it, and how you can tone it down for lower level parties. Like and subscribe, and comment below. I'd love to see pictures of the Gulthias trees that you make if you decide you want to make one. Next week I think I'll be making giant mushrooms, and they'll be like trees but for the Underdark. So if you're like running Night Below or some other campaign in the Underdark, or you're just running a big cave or dungeon with mushrooms, I'll show you how to make those, and those will be pretty cheap. I think you'll be able to produce about 20 of them for like under $10. So I'll show that next week. Alright. Peace out.